Hey guys, my name is Matsumo, and today I want to talk about how snipers in Battlefield 1 may be the most powerful and terrifying they've ever been in the Battlefield franchise for a very long time. Now, I realize this is a bit of a bold statement, and it might be too early to tell because this is in closed alpha, but as long as things don't change dramatically, and because of the different mechanics that they have in place, snipers are going to be a force to be reckoned with when Battlefield 1 goes live. Now, probably one of the biggest contributing factors to this is that as long as you're sniping at the appropriate distance, you're not going for those extreme long-range shots like 500 or 1,000 meters away, your weapon's bullet velocity is insanely fast. You guys are going to notice throughout today's video that basically as soon as I pull the trigger, as long as my target is 100 or 200 meters away, the bullet gets there pretty much instantaneously. Yeah, you are going to have to compensate for a little bit of movement by the enemy. You are going to have to lead your target, but it's nowhere near as significant as Battlefield 4 and Battlefield 3. In a situation in Battlefield 4, if my enemy was 200 meters away and they were running around, it would be much more challenging to line up this kill because not only am I having to deal with more bullet drop in those situations, which is more challenging, but I'm also having to lead the target more. Those two factors, the more you exasperate them, the harder it is to line up these shots and take them out. And so what I'm loving about Battlefield 1's version is that basically I'm just pointing at the enemy's head, maybe compensating and leading the target slightly when they're on the move, and squeezing the trigger and getting these amazingly satisfying kills. I can imagine when snipers, really good snipers, get their hands on these bolt-action rifles, they're going to dominate the competition. People were really worried that there wasn't going to be enough bolt-action rifle representation in Battlefield 1, it wasn't going to be authentic enough. Well, if the sniper class, the scouts, is going to be anything like it is right now when Battlefield 1 goes live, you are going to be terrified of anyone who is using a bolt-action rifle because of this very fast bullet velocity. The fact that I'm able to go on these kill streaks, and I'm someone who's not very good at sniping in Battlefield 4, like I fully admit I'm decent, but nowhere near as good as I feel like I am in Battlefield 1. If I'm able to be this successful, I can only imagine the rampage that people are going to go on when they really start to nail down these mechanics and understand the ins and outs of the scout class. Another reason why I think this class is going to be amazing is that it truly is the best kit at taking people out at long range. This hasn't always been the case in past Battlefield games. I'm sure you guys have done this all the time. You're running around as the assault class in Battlefield 4, you're using something like the AEK, which technically should only do well up close because it has a high rate of fire, it has a lot of recoil, but because you know how to reel in that recoil, you know how to top fire, even if you go against a recon who's 100, 150 meters away, where technically they should have the advantage. The bolt-action rifle should be the class of weapon that should dominate you at those distances because all of the assault rifles in Battlefield 4 are absolutely incredible at all distances. You're able to win that firefight and kill the recon. You can't really do that anymore with Battlefield 1. If you try to out-snipe you with an SMG as the assault class at 100 to 200 meters away, I'm gonna laugh at you. Your bullets are not even gonna come anywhere close to me, and if they do, they're gonna do a pathetic amount of damage. And while it might suppress the scout a little bit, there is a bit of suppression here, it will cause your scope to sway a bit, they're not gonna be able to counter-snipe you like they could in past Battlefield games. And so as long as you are keeping that optimal distance and you're at that sweet spot, which we'll talk about in a second, you're gonna have no problem winning these firefights and you're gonna have the advantage now, while the enemy is really gonna be struggling to close the gap on you to have any success of taking you out. Speaking of sweet spot, it's another reason why snipers are really powerful right now. If you're not aware, the damage in Battlefield 1 is a little wonky and confusing compared to past Battlefield games because now your damage starts off low up close, at least with some of the weapons, and then when it hits this sweet spot range, it's different for every single one of these bolt-action rifles, it starts to ramp up and get to the point where even if you hit the enemy in the chest, it does a full 100 damage. It then of course drops off, but as long as you are at this optimal distance, you're going to ruin them. And so it's on top of this sweet spot where you don't even need to get a headshot to drop them. It's on top of the fact that your bullet velocity is significantly faster in this sweet spot range where you don't have to lead the target very much. Your bullet basically gets to there instantaneously. And the fact that your weapons are the best in these situations compared to all of the other class of guns in the game, hopefully you can understand why I think snipers are going to be an amazing class to play in Battlefield 1. Now, of course, you do have your weaknesses. As soon as the enemy closes the gap and makes things more intimate, that's when you're going to start to struggle, but you're not completely worthless. You switch it over to the M1911, for example, it is a very powerful pistol. You can 3-shot the enemy, and if you get a lucky headshot in there, you're going to 2-shot them. So they might think that they have the drop on you. You switch it over your pistol really quickly, and if you have the accuracy, you're going to win these firefights a majority of the time. Like, hopefully you guys have noticed that a lot of these assault players thought they had the drop on me, and because I was able to line up these headshots, I was good to go. Not only that, but a lot of these bolt-action rifles also have the bayonet charge. Not only is this probably one of the coolest things that you can do in the game, but it's another tool that you have at your disposal to get out of a sticky situation. You can maybe just run away. There's a lot of times where I know enemies are charging at me, and I'm like, all right, screw it. I'm gonna charge in the opposite direction because it does increase your movement speed. I'm gonna get behind that little hill really quickly before they're able to retaliate. I can also just say, screw it, I'm not even gonna use my pistol. I know I'm at a severe disadvantage right now. I'm just gonna charge into that building and see what happens. When you're able to pull it off, it is one of the most satisfying things that you can do in Battlefield 1, and it's just another trick up your sleeve that you never had in past Battlefield games. One critique that I have, and it is a small one, is that I think that DICE could do a better job of allocating and rewarding points for scouts who are doing team-based actions. They clearly want you to be at this optimal range. They want you to be away from the action about 100 or 200 meters out, but if you are 100 and 200 meters out, you can't really play the objective as well as other teammates. If you want to get the top of the scoreboard, you have to be on these capture points. You have to be capping it because you need that huge point value at the end. But if you're 100 meters away, you can't really be on the capture point. And so I don't know exactly how DICE could remedy this. Maybe they could give scouts more points for spotting. Maybe instead of 20 or whatever it is right now, they could bump it up to like 40 or 50. Maybe they could give them more of the flare gun, because right now you can only get 1 charge in the flare gun. Maybe bump that up to 2 or 3. Maybe give them more points for killing enemies on objectives, so that while you may not be on the point itself, if you are sniping someone who is defending or attacking one of your objectives, you get a couple more points for doing so. I don't really know, but I think right now, if they want you to play this role, they want to incentivize you to be at these distances, I think they could do a better job of rewarding you for that type of play style. Like I said, it is a small critique. You can still play the objective as a sniper, but I think they probably could do at least a little bit better in this department. But of course, that is just my 2 cents. But overall, if you can't tell, I am in love with sniping in Battlefield 1, and I truly do believe that snipers are going to be the strongest they've ever been in a past Battlefield game in a very long time. It's satisfying, it's rewarding, and I think a lot of people are going to enjoy playing as this kit in the future. But yeah, guys, that is about it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. Give me your thoughts on what I discussed. Do you love what DICE is doing with the sniper? Are you disappointed? Let me know down below. But yeah, guys, until tomorrow, have a good one and take it easy.